Second Chronicles 2:1. And Solomon determined to build an house for Yahweh Shema Mashak Yahweh, and a house for his kingdom, and an house for his kingdom, Salakia. And Solomon told out 70,010 men to bear burdens. 70 is 60, and 10 represents 70,000 men to bear burdens. 70,000 men to bear burdens. And 80,000 to hew in the mountain. A score is 20. So 80 would be 80,000 to hew in the mountain. And 3,600 to oversee them. 3,600 to make sure they did the job right. The overseer. And Solomon sent to Hiram, the king of Tyre, saying, as thou didst deal with David my father, and didst send him cedars to build him an house to dwell therein, even so deal with me. So as you dealt with my father King David, do the same with me. Behold, I build an house to the name by Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahushai, my power, to dedicate it to him, and to burn before him sweet incense, and for the continual showbread, and for the burnt offerings morning and evening, on the Sabbaths, and on the new moons, and on the solemn feast of the Most High, our power. This is an ordinance forever to Israel. And the house which I build is great, for great is our power above all idols. That's what he said. It's humility, right here in verse 6. But who is able to build him an house, seeing the heaven and heavens, the heaven and heaven of heavens, cannot contain him? Who am I? Listen again. Who am I? Then. Once again, who am I? Then, that I should build him an house, save only to burn sacrifice before him? That's the humility right there. He said, who am I? Then, that I should build him an house, save only to burn sacrifice before him? See? Second Samuel's 9 and 8. We're looking at humility, examples of it. I'll start at verse 7. And David said unto him, fear not, for I will surely show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee all the land of Saul thy father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually. This is to Mephibosheth, Jonathan's son. Listen, verse 8. And he bowed himself and said, what is thy servant, that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? It's humility. And he bowed himself and said, what is thy servant, that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? Can't find no humility in that. himself a dead dog. Look at an example of David being cursed. Somebody just cursing David out. Go to 2 Samuel 16th chapter. Look at 2 Samuel 16 and 5. It say, and when King David came to Bahurim, behold, this came out a man of the family of the house of Saul, whose name was Shamiel, the son of Zerah. He came forth, and cursed still as he came. He was cursed as he still came. And he cast stones at David. He was throwing stones, cursing and casting stones at David. And at all the servants of King David. And all the people and all the mighty men were on his right hand and on his left. He cursing them out and throwing stones at them. King David and all his mighty men. And thus said Shemuel when he cursed, come out, thou bloody man, and thou man of Belial. And the Most High hath returned unto thee all the blood of the house of Saul, in whose stead thou hast reigned. And the Most High hath delivered the kingdom into the hand of Absalom thy son. And behold, thou art taken in thy mischief, because thou art a bloody man. Then said Abijah, the son of Zeruiah, unto the king. That's what Abishai said to King David. Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king, my master the king? Let me go over, I pray thee, and take off his head. So let me go over. Why you gonna let this dead dog curse the king? Now he called him a dead dog. He not call himself a dead dog, but remember that Mephibosheth called himself a dead dog in humility. Jonathan's son. Here, one of King David's mighty men is this man is cursing and throwing rocks at him. Let me go just go and take off his head. Listen to what David said. Verse 10. And the king said, what have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah? So let him curse, because the Most High have said unto him, curse David. Hear that? The Most High have said unto him, curse David. Who shall then say, wherefore hast thou done so? And David said to Abijah and to all his servants, behold, my son, which came forth of my bowels, seeketh my life. How much more now may this Benjamite do it? Let him alone, and let him curse, for the Most High have bidden him. It may be that the Most High will look on mine affliction, and that the Most High will requite me good for this cursing this day. And as David and his men went by the way, Shemuel went along on the hills side over against him, and cursed as he went, and threw stones at him, and cast dust. And the king and all the people that were with him came weary, and refreshed themselves there. See? He let him curse him, throwing rocks at him. You see how Israel rose up, let me go and cut his head off. David said, no. Most High have him doing this. I mean, these are the examples we got to look at. Most High have him doing this to me. Maybe from my affliction that he's bringing upon me, Most High will show a good sign. A lot of times people be against you, and the Most High bless you for all the affliction that you have to deal with behind people cursing you and doing the things against you that's against the laws of the Most High. Well, the Most High have him do it for a reason. But he gave the glory to the Most High for him doing what he was doing. That's what we all have to look at. These are examples. Because David could have said, go cut his head off. I mean, he'd love to cut his head off. Because he came to him and told him, let me go cut his head off. Or David said, go ahead. His head would have been cut off. But no. David gave glory to the Most High. Look at 1 Kings. And there's many examples here. 1 Kings. _21 chapter. And look at, let's start at verse 25. We look at the humility of Ahab. It says, but there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Most High, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. Jezebel and Ahab. And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all things as did the Amorites, whom the Most High cast out before the children of Israel. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard those words, that he rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted, and lay in sackcloth, and went softly. This is him showing humility. So we rent our clothes and put sackcloth, and put dust on our head. And the word of the Most High came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, seeing thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me, because he humbleth himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house. See? He said, hey, I'm not going to do it to him, but in his son's days, I'm going to bring the evil upon his family. Because he humbled himself. Look at 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles 12. Start at verse 1. And it came to pass, when Rehoboam had established the kingdom, and had strengthened himself, he forsook the law of the Most High, and all Israel with him. Rehoboam, King Solomon's son. And it came to pass that in the 5th year of King Rehoboam, Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem, because they had transgressed against the Most High. See how the Most High sent an avenger, an enemy after us, when we transgress his laws? And how you think you're going to come out of this wicked, oppressive state that we're in now without coming back to the following the laws of the Most High? Transgress the Most High's laws and he bring an enemy. This is the time of Jacob's trouble that we in now. But you see here, it says, he forsook the law of the Most High, and all Israel with him. Verse 2, and it came to pass that in the 5th year of King Rehoboam, Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem, because they had transgressed against the Most High, with 1,200 chariots and 70,000 horsemen, and the people were without number that came with him out of Egypt, the Libyans and the Sukkians and the Ethiopians. And he took the fenced cities which pertained to Judah, and came to Jerusalem. Then came Shemaiah the prophet to Rehoboam, and to the princes of Judah that were gathered together to Jerusalem because of Shishak, and said unto them, thus saith the Most High, ye have forsaken me, and therefore have I also left you in the hand of Shishak. Listen. Verse 6. Whereupon the princes of Israel and the king humbled themselves. See? Wherefore the princes of Israel and the king humbled themselves, and they said, the Most High is righteous. Verse 7. And when the Most High saw that they humbled themselves, solutions, people. And when the Most High saw that they humbled themselves, the word of the Most High came to Shemaiah, saying, they have humbled themselves, therefore I will not destroy them. Once again. And when the Most High saw that they humbled themselves, the word of the Most High came to Shemaiah, saying, they have humbled themselves, therefore I will not destroy them, but I will grant them some deliverance, and my wrath shall not be poured out upon Jerusalem by the hand of Shishak. See? Because we humbled ourselves. Because they humbled themselves, the Most High said, I will not destroy them. He said, nevertheless, they shall be his servants, that they may know my service in the service of the kingdoms of the countries. So Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem and took away the treasures of the house of the Most High and the treasures of the king's house. He took all. He carried away also the shields of gold which Solomon had made. See? Instead of which King Rehoboam made shields of brass and committed them to the hands of the chief of the guard that kept the interest of the king's house. When the king entered into the house of the Most High, the guard came and fetched them and brought them again into the guard chamber. And when he humbled himself, the wrath of the Most High turned from him. And when he humbled himself, the wrath of the Most High turned from him. One more time for understanding. And when he humbled himself, the wrath of the Most High turned from him, that he would not destroy him altogether. And also in Judah things went well. See? It's the process, people. Second Kings, 22nd chapter. Josiah, 2 Kings, 22nd chapter. Let's look at 2 Kings 22 and start at verse 15. And she said unto them, thus said the Most High power of Israel, tell the man that sent you to me, thus said the Most High, behold, I will bring evil upon this place, and upon the inhabitants thereof, even all the words of the book which the king of Judah have read, because they have forsaken me, and have burned incense unto other idols, that they might provide me to anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be kindled against this place, and shall not be quenched. Listen, verse 18 is very important for the subject that we're dealing with. But to the king of Judah, which sent you to inquire of the Most High, thus shall ye say to him, thus say the Most High power of Israel, as touching the words which thou hast heard, because thine heart was tender, and